What's up everyone, Humble Farmer Taiki here. Today I want to discuss my upcoming 7-figure airdrop from Lighter and also how I'm farming with over $1 million on chain. So let's cue the intro. So apologies for not making a video last week. I was too busy giving a talk at Token 2049 on the ways of being a humble farmer. But another thing I learned in Singapore is that there is going to be a lot of buy pressure for Lighter once they do actually launch. As most of you know, the PerpDex meta has been really hot, and Hyperliquid has been losing market share to things like Aster, Lighter, and other PerpDexes because they have points. And though we don't really know, if all this volume and open interest can sustain after the airdrop, I think Lighter has enough differentiators such as being a ZKL2, having no fees, and probably listing more assets as collateral before Hyperliquid, that I think it's probably going to be number 2 in terms of perpdexes. And I don't think perps will be a winner takes all market. I think there can be multiple players that just makes a bunch of money. So at the current or according to like the OTC desks, each Lighter point is going to be worth roughly $100. And if you just do like the simple points calculator here, allegedly they're going to airdrop roughly 25% of the supply. And if it's going to be worth $100, then that implies an FDV of roughly $4 billion. I think that's way too cheap. That's like 10% the FDV of Hyperliquid. I think 25, 30, 40, I mean, somewhere in the 20 to 40% range makes sense. And if that were to be the case, I think Lighter points are going to go to $250, $300. And I'm really fortunate. I have 5,000 Lighter points, which, at the current price, right, of Lighter points, it implies a $500,000 airdrop. But realistically, maybe I'm drinking a Kool-Aid, but I think this airdrop is going to be like the biggest airdrop of my life, over $1 million. So I'm like really grateful. And of course, that kind of determines how I manage my portfolio because I have this insane payoff happening in like roughly 2 months. So for me, right, I can just be a humble farmer, chill, and just wait for this to hit my wallet and then not take too much risks, as it relates to like taking on like market exposure right now. So I still think it's worth farming Lighter. It's getting really hard to farm, as with all things, right? When this thing first launched, it was fairly easy to get points. I started farming this in March, so it was like not that hard. It was still hard, but like not too hard. And like now there's so much volume and so much activity here that like anyone that you can do like $1 million of volume and still get like 2 points or something, right? It's really hard. I still think it's worth farming. And one thing I'm doing is, yes, I'm still doing some volume on Lighter, but I'm farming the farmers. There's a lot of people making suboptimal decisions, like the trading decisions on Lighter to get points. So what I can do is deposit in the Lighter liquidity vault, which basically provides liquidity to Lighter, and I take the other side, right? So the way to think about it is you are farming the farmers. And this pool has printed. I put 248K roughly a month ago, and now it's at 261. In the past 15 days or so, since September 21st, it hasn't lost money, which is quite incredible. And I think LLP has outperformed the majority of altcoins, right? Which is kind of crazy to think about, or like ever since I deposited. So of course, there are deposit caps to Lighter if you don't have enough points, so it might not be the best farm for like a lot of you, but I think you can still apply the same concept and deposit liquidity in other perpdexes. There's Hyperliquid, EdgeX, Apex Omni, Pacifica, Paradex. Some of these vaults are like better than others, but I think farming the farmers could be a good way to earn yield on stablecoins, especially as the perpdex meta keeps heating up. One last thing to look forward to for Lighter is that season 1 ended, season 2 is starting, and then they're going to TG in like roughly December. They should launch like real world assets as collateral in October, and they're also going to launch the spot decks because for them to airdrop, right, and have Lighter be tradable on their decks, they have to launch spot. They're probably going to copy the Hyperliquid playbook, where for Hyperliquid, if you held points, you got airdropped this meme coin called Per, and holding Per gave you points. I was stupid, right? I got my Per airdrop. I just like dumped it in like the first week, and then like Per just like 10x after. Because people know this playbook already, I think what's going to end up happening is when this meme coin eventually gets airdropped to people, I think it's going to just like get bid up immediately. It's going to pump a lot. I'm going to try to buy it like as early as I can, and I'm going to hold on to my airdrop. I think holding on to this airdrop will give you more points as well. So I can see a lot of hype and like activity on Lighter leading up to this launch. We'll see how it does after, but really, really optimistic Lighter. And I think this kind of proves like one of the crazy ways to make money in crypto, right? Me personally, I don't really think there's that much asymmetric opportunity when it comes to buying, coins on centralized exchanges, because all these coins launch way too high at a valuation. So if you're buying them like at TG, it's hard to win as retail. However, if the meta is that these coins are launching way too high, the natural response as farmers and as market participants is to be like, you know what, like, fuck this, right? I'm just going to farm the token. So when these tokens launch at a really high valuation, I can dump them, right? And we see this, repeat over and over again, right? Token launches high, farmers win, people ape, they lose. So I think people are going to slowly catch on to this, and that's kind of like why I'm trying to take more of a humble farmer approach, because I've done like centralized exchange coins, I've done like DCs on altcoins. I don't know. Like, I feel like my edge is getting diluted over time. As markets become more efficient, I think it's going to be harder and harder to extract edge and alpha from markets, especially as there's going to be a lot more money and a lot more, high IQ people entering the space. But what these new people don't know how to do is airdrop farm, right? They can make spreadsheets, but they don't know how to use a chain. So, like our edge as retail is to be able to use a chain, get these points, get the airdrops, and then just sing kumbaya. So looking forward to the light airdrop, and hopefully you guys are too. I also want to give a quick update on my USDai farm. So a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that I'm going to be putting $500,000 of my stablecoins on this farm because I thought that the points themselves would print. These Pendle pools were paying above 20% at the time. Now it's paying 45%. But I mentioned that, hey, if I just ape into this when the caps open, right, and you can mint this thing 1-to-1, not only can you farm the points, but you can give yourself the opportunity to dump these stablecoins at a 1-to-2% gain. And that's exactly what I did. So roughly, roughly 32 days ago, I spent 200K, right, aping into this Pendle pool. And then 2 days ago, or yesterday, I dumped my entire position for roughly $204,000. So I made over a $4,000 gain on a stablecoin farm, and I also kept my 37 million points that will go into my future airdrop. So this kind of goes over like the powers of stablecoin farming, right? In this special example of like when like these things are trading above peg, you can literally make money flipping it. Which is like the definition of an asymmetric opportunity, right? Your downside is capped to 0, and your upside is like whatever the market sets this premium at. So I still have some capital in this thing. The premium has kind of gone down recently because there's like a lot of funky things going on here. I still think USDai is a really good farm, and I think the best way to express that is through Pendle, right? You can just ape into here and get 45% plus points. But like I said, the problem is that because there's so much demand, these things are trading above peg. So I have 300K in USDai, 260K in LLP. I also have 455K in the Plasma farm on AAVE. This isn't the best farm in terms of like APY, but I expect more farms to go live on Plasma in the future. So I'm just happy to bridge and like let it sit there for roughly 11% APY. So that being said, I do want to quickly go over my portfolio theory, just because I do think it's important for all of us to think about our portfolio constructively or holistically, and have everything work in unison. And obviously, I've been in the markets for like 5 years or over 5 years now, and I've learned a lot over the years. My theory and like the way I view markets has shifted. And honestly, I'm tired of round tripping. So though I do think there's could be more upside in the markets, I just have no idea, right? I think valuations are getting pretty high, things are getting heated. So from this point forward, I always want to have at least 50% of my portfolio in stablecoins. Of course, I still have market exposure that's doing well, but also like my airdrop farming, right? Can give me asymmetric returns in the future. And I think that's where my edge is instead of like trying to buy meme coins and something. So this is my portfolio now. I don't want to like show individual coins, but I guess the changes from 2 weeks ago was that, I still had 50% stablecoins. I had Mantle, but like Mantle has pumped so hard that, it's gotten like a larger percent of my portfolio. I had some JLP, which I've kind of rotated. So I stacked where I sold JLP. I mean, JLP is a fantastic product. It just goes up only forever. But I feel like Solana is getting kind of, heated. So I'm like, oh, let me just like rotate some into stablecoins. I also bought Apex, which I'm not really a huge fan of at this point. So I'll probably sell. I'm only like really bullish Mantle, right? From like a valuation and a fundamental thesis. But of course, by having so many stablecoins, I am giving up some upside, right? In case like the markets go up only, but that's kind of where farming comes in, right? Because of like my lighter farming, right? In the future, right? There's like this insane payoff coming for me, so I don't feel like I need to take on that much risk, right? Because I mean, if the markets keep going up only, right? My lighter points are just going to keep going up. But if the markets go down, then my lighter points will just go down, right? So I'm already kind of exposed if you think about it that way. So the way I'm trying to farm right now, aside from like the stablecoin farms I've shown you, is I've been trying to like short more tokens. I talked about this. I wrote an article called The Humble Farmer Portfolio, and I think if you want to be a humble farmer, I think something like this makes sense, where you have like roughly 30 to 60% of your stable portfolio in stables, spot good coins, right, with 30 to 60%, and then airdrop farming new perp dexes via a shorting method. Because like I said, if you're airdrop farming, you're essentially taking a risk on the altcoin market, right? Because if the markets aren't heated by the time the airdrop happens, then the airdrop is going to be worth zero. So in a way, by shorting, right, you actually get to reduce like overall exposure to like the market, and also get to short like such vaporware projects. For example, right? Variation. I've talked about variational before, like 2 weeks ago, and since then, like the open interest in variational has been going up a lot. Obviously, people keep saying like, oh, like lighter is going to be the last airdrop, right, for perp dexes, but they also said that for hyperliquid, right, and then lighter happened. I honestly think that the people that's not airdrop farming, they're just lazy, right, and in markets you get paid to do things that other people don't want to do, and I'm just out here doing like the hard work of shorting coins, and I think one of the beauties of being in crypto is that you can short coins and get paid to do so. So this is currently like my short basket. It's not that much size, honestly, but I'm shorting things that I think will just eventually go down over time with heavy emissions, like low float high FDV. So I'm short SUI, IP, World Liberty Fi, and then also XPL. Shorting XPL kind of works too, because since I'm farming XPL in like my in this particular farm, I shorted this thing at like 98 cents, meaning that I essentially get to lock in like my farm at 98 cents, right? So I kind of pre-sell my future like farming emissions via like shorting on perps, if that makes sense, right? Because I get to sell upfront. And the beauty of perps is that if you hover over, right, I get paid 50% funding by shorting this thing, which is kind of crazy, right? I mean, because if you really think about it, right, Plasma, I mean, I get it. It's like a tether chain, but it's the farm token. You go to like the Plasma opportunities page, and it's literally just like they're just giving away over $1 million per day, right? It's like farmers, and like what does this token even do, right? And like people are bidding this up to like 15 bill FDV, kind of crazy, right? So I'm like, okay, like let me just lock in, like my sells at 98 cents, and if it goes higher, I get to short more. So as you can see, like if a story protocol pumps more, right, I'll short more. If World Liberty Pi pumps more, I'll short more. If XPL pumps more, I'll short more. So yeah, I think, I mean, there's like multiple ways to like farm perp dexes, but I think this is going to be the way I'm going to be going with in the future. Also because I think, shorting is a good skill to have. And yeah, I used to play a lot of poker, right, professionally. And a fellow poker pro once told me that, yeah, like not having shorts as part of your portfolio strategy is kind of like playing poker without any check raises. And that really kind of stuck to me. So yeah, I'm starting to like short with small size with the idea that, yeah, like let me just pick a basket of coins which are just clearly overvalued and such vaporware. I mean, okay, like I don't want to call all these things vaporware, right? Because I'm just like, yeah, like, that's kind of like a pessimistic way to view things. Like I think Plasma, SUI, they're trying to like work on something real, maybe story protocol. I mean, World Liberty Fi, right? Definitely vaporware. So yeah, I'm not really trying to express like a, like an opinion on like the teams and whatnot. I'm just more so saying, yeah, like these tokens are way overvalued. And if I'm being paid to short, I might as well take it. And I also get to farm points. And yeah, like, yeah, I mean, I haven't really made that much, but variational is pre-points, and I think it's probably going to be like the next perp dex that I'm going to be farming aggressively after lighter. So this is invite only, so if you do want a ref, just DM me on Twitter. I don't have enough ref. It's really hard to get ref codes. So if you're interested, right, just DM me. If you don't want to use my ref link, just go to like their Discord and hopefully get like a link or so. It is fairly what is it? Scarce in a sense. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm farming, right? So I have LLP, I have USDai, I'm farming plasma, and I'm shorting coins on perps, I guess. So that's kind of like my holistic strategy, right? I'm also, long good coins I like, some more short term, some more medium to longer term. And then with the rest, right, earn good yield on stable coins, short coins that I think are overvalued, which allows me to hedge my portfolio and also farm future points. And I don't know, I feel like that's a good way to approach the markets moving forward, especially as, today, like the markets are getting nuked, right? So, my shorts are printing, my stablecoin farms are printing. And, if I'm making like, a few selective bets on good alts, then yeah, like it's like a long short strategy. Even though like my shorts are like barely any size. But yeah, the idea is that, yeah, like I'm just like shorting small. And then if it pumps more, I can add more. And then like, it's kind of like dollar cost averaging up, right, to your shorts, which is like the opposite of dollar cost averaging down, like buying Bitcoin in a bear market, for example. So that's going to be it for me. Hope you guys enjoy the content. That's how I'm farming as a humble farmer. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you're interested in the premium Discord, I'll put the link in the description below. And anyways, have fun farming, guys, and see you guys another time. Bye-bye.